So you need a worship rig on the cheap. Well, here we go. So we're going to start off with the guitar. So this is a Epiphone Les Paul Special. It's just a flat top, kind of slab body Les Paul with 2 humbuckers. And I really like these pickups. And these pickups definitely put this ahead of the Fender or the Squier Sonic series. I played those and they're fine. But for the same money, I like this guitar a little better. Now, that being said, out of the box, this needs work. So it definitely needs a setup, and it could use like a fret dressing and polishing. Learn that stuff yourself, to be honest. Just go on YouTube, look that stuff up, and you will learn a valuable skill about how to take care of your guitar, as well as having a great playing instrument. Every guitar at this price point is going to need some work, unless you buy something used that you get lucky and somebody else did the work for you, in which case. But we're talking about new products here. Nothing that I'm going to mention is used. We're only talking about new prices. I may give you some ideas as we go along for used products to pick up. But we're talking about keeping this rig at $1,000. That's soup to nuts. That's everything. Cables. The whole 9 yards we're including in this. So, like I said, we started with the guitar. We're going to move over to the pedal board. So I'm going to put a picture of the pedal board up here. And we're going to start with the reverb. This is the Behringer digital reverb DR600. Now, this is supposed to be a copy of the Boss RV500. The RV500, not the 600. And with that being said, this is only $45, and I would say this is the best reverb pedal under $150. Well, the Hall of Fame reverb from TC Electronic is better than this. Significantly better than this, with a ton more options. But it's a little over, it's what, $160 or something? It's like twice the money. Now, you might be able to find a Hall of Fame one used for about $80. Feel free to pick one of those up. They're great. If we're talking about new prices, $45 on Sweetwater or Reverb are the only two places you can get Behringer gear now. There's nothing offensive in this pedal. I think I have it set to a Hall reverb, and we just have boy, this will get very, very wet. So just a little dabble-dee on this one, man, on the level part, just a little bit, and let's hear how this sounds. Yeah, that whole reverb's really good on that. So, that is the reverb. Now, we're going to leave that on pretty much all the time. Now, we're going to skip over to the drive pedal. And that is the Moore Blues Crab. And this pedal's $30. Oh my gosh, it is worth I think I've seen it sometimes on Amazon go up to $45. So it's between $30 and $45. So if you can catch it at $30, at $45, it's worth every penny. So let me turn this on here. All right, and that's just the drive and the reverb. Pretty cool. That's a good start already. Now we're going to move next down to the Azor Chorus. This is a $20 chorus. Chorus is one of those effects that I like to, just every once in a while you kick it in for a change of pace. It's just something a little different, especially when you want something like really clean. And man, for $20, we're gonna. I already have a review on the Blues Crab. I'll link that below. Awesome drive pedal. We're going to. I'm gonna do a review on these other pedals. This is Azor Chorus though. This is for $20. That's unbelievable. Sounds great. I mean, listen, an analog bucket brigade chorus is not a new thing. It's not new technology. But to have it in such a tiny little pedal for $20 is friggin' awesome. So there you go. So there's your ambient worship chorus right there for $20. And then kind of the centerpiece of the pedal board is the TC Electronic Flashback 2 delay. Now, this is where this is a big part of where the money is going for the pedal board. This and the power supply, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But the Flashback is just an awesome delay pedal. We're at $160 on the Flashback. You can find them cheaper used, but again, we're talking new prices here. So let me turn that off. Let me turn this on, and so I got it at the mod setting because I want to have some of that modulation on the reverb, and let's hear how it sounds. We're at a dotted eighth note. Let's add some drive here. And if you want to stay a little bit more ambient, you can pull off of that level a little bit, and you know, you can or for chords. some of the... Awesome. All right, so that is the pedal board. Now, the actual board itself is a Guitto from Amazon. I'll put a picture of the case that you get with it. That's $100, so that's like $110. And then the power supply, we're using Cioks DC4. I don't know if you can see that. It comes through on the camera. A Cioks DC4. Now, this is meant to be an add-on for the DC7. But what we're doing is, instead of running a line out of the DC7 into this, is we're actually running a one spot into there, because basically this is like an extension of a power supply. So we run the one spot into this, and that Cioks DC4 is about $150, and you get another $30 for the one spot, and you have a really good isolated power supply. I would not skimp on the power supply at all. Especially with these digital pedals, you want isolated power to them. This will do it. It comes with all the little power cables that you need. You will have to, like I said, buy the one spot, but it is the way to go to pedal a small pedal board like this. We know we have 4 pedals. It's got 4 outputs in it, and that's perfect. And we get really, really clean, good power to these pedals. Okay, and then finally, the amp. So we are using the Gamma G50. Now I want to talk a little bit about the amp and like the thought process going into the choice of the amp. So I am going to actually use this rig for the most part. We'll talk a little bit more about that to play worship. So we're going to set this up. Now, so I had to find an amp that would fit my needs as well. And so what I need is something that will handle acoustic guitar as well as electric guitar. And this amp has Bluetooth, which is huge, because when I'm practicing with the band, we can just stream whoever the original artist track through here to like listen to it and learn it and work on things together, or even like record our practices and then listen back. Now the playback is not high fidelity, it's not great, but it is very, very helpful and convenient for practicing. Also, this on the channel 1, so it has 2 channels. Channel 1 is just a straight up clean channel, and I do not like it with electric guitar. Let me tell you, the straight up clean channel but works great with acoustic guitar. Now, it's not labeled as acoustic guitar. By the way, also, if you wanted to go digital modeling for the pedals, you can save a lot of money, and there's cheap modelers. I have a hard time recommending those because they're not very, you can't adjust them on the fly, because you got a menu dive, and you can set up presets, but it's a lot of extra work. This thing you can dial in very quickly, and if somebody messed up your settings, you can just quickly change things up here and dial it back in. So I don't love those cheaper modelers. I think to get good modeling, you're going to have to spend like close to $500. Like Boss has one. It's like the $400 to $500 range. Nux or Nux, N-U-X, I think it's Nux, has one too that looks pretty cool. And then obviously you're getting into your HX Stomps and then your Helixes, and you can go up from there. But I like to have individual pedals. I like to have my stomp boxes. This is just a better, easier, faster situation. But you could put a modeler into channel 1. You can put acoustics into channel 1. Channel 1 to me is just like it's just basic amplification, almost like bypassing the preamp. I think there's a preamp in there, but you kind of get where I'm going with that. Channel 2 for me is where I like the electric. Now I'm using the blues setting. There's clean, blues, rock, and metal. The metal is pretty good for metal tones, but we're not going to go into metal tones for ambient worship. The clean channel is fine. I use the blues channel because I don't mind it being pushed just a little bit. The rock channel is pretty terrible, just to be honest. No, it's not very good. So I would stick with the blues channel. This amp is super bassy, and if you notice on the picture here that I'll show of the controls, I have the bass all the way down. And then with a humbucker, I turn the mids just a little bit down because the mid is low mid, right? And so then you can add a little bit of that you can add a little bit more mid, maybe not quite to noon if you're using single coils. But for this humbucker, I have that turned out just to clean the sound up. And then we're boosting some treble. We got some treble going on just to get this thing, because it is incredibly bassy. Way too bassy. But the EQ is barely good enough to dial in a tone. But when you spend $150 to $200 on an amp, that's what you get. So I got it for $150 on sale. They're usually $200 new, so that is the price that we are factoring in. So we have $200 for the guitar, $200 for the amp. That puts us at $400. We have $100 for the pedal board. That's the actual board itself. That's $500. Now, you could build something and save that money. So you can get some scrap wood together. Velcro. Why can't I think of words? Velcro. For, $15 and put that together. So you could save more money. I like these pedal boards. I use them all the time. And so I wanted to stick with that. And then, right, so that's $500. Yeah, for our power supply, we have the DC4, which is $140, and then $30 for the one spot. And so, so we're at $170. So that's $670 there. $30 for our blues crab. So that's $700. We got $160 for our flashback. So that is $860. $800, and then for our chorus, that's $880. And then $925 when we factor in the $45 for our reverb, and then the rest of the $1,000, the other $75 will go into cables, and then probably you could get an affordable Headstock Tuner, and there is your entire rig, everything you need for $1,000. So some upgrades for used equipment that I would buy. Obviously, buying a used Hall of Fame reverb would be one, although this reverb works pretty great. Used Boss Katana would also do you pretty well, like a Boss Katana 50 in place of the Gamma. The problem is it doesn't have Bluetooth, and that Bluetooth is super, super handy. You could buy a little Bluetooth thing and send it into the aux, but like I said, this amp is good enough to get decent tones, but super handy and practical. So Gamma, I believe, is owned by Acoustic, which is involved with Guitar Center somehow. But credit to them for building a pretty useful, affordable amp that sounds okay. An upgrade to that, if you wanted to throw a Creamback, I think a Creamback would sound really good in there. But if you went with like a Creamback Neo, that's a $200 speaker that you're putting in a $200 amp. But that may be, I'm thinking about it, to be honest. And full disclosure, so I will be using this for the next few months at church, and I will report back and let you know how this rig does. However, the guitar is not staying around, and I'm going to tell you why. So I need to go back and forth sometimes in the same set between acoustic, or it definitely helps if I can go back and forth between acoustic and electric. And this rig affords me that, with the exception of the guitar. And so I have my Taylor T5Z that I play. I play that in my regular gigs, and I do play that often at my church gigs. Sometimes I'll use different guitars. Also, while this guitar sounds great and is pretty good for $200, I have a stable of pretty awesome guitars that I'm privileged to own. So it would be hard to stick with this guitar, just to be honest. And then the output jack, I'm having a little bit of an output jack issue with this guitar. If you wanted to add an acoustic guitar to this rig, honestly, the first recommendation off the top of my head, for about $250, go get a Yamaha or a Fender acoustic guitar with no electronics. Get 0 electronics in it. And then go get you the LR Baggs M1 pickup system. It's easy to install. That pickup system's $250. You can spend $250 on the guitar, so you're $500 in, and that thing is going to sound amazing. So that's my recommendation. And then that puts the cost of the rig up to $1,500, but then you have both acoustic and electric. And so I will report back in a couple months and let you know how that's going. So with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. If you watch this video to the end, you are a legend. So thank you very much. And remember, it's always about the song. Peace.